One of the most glaring deficiencies and weaknesses of the 2021 Jets defense was its lack of ability to stop the run. In this video, I'm going to be highlighting why linebacker has always been one of the biggest needs as the Jets entered the 2022 offseason. Let's go ahead and let's get after it. Before we get into the video, if I could get you to please jet up the like button, and if you're new here and you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. I want to let you know we'll be live this upcoming Wednesday night. We'll be live streaming and discussing all things Jets offseason. The link for that stream will be in the description.
When teams are doubling your three technique and your nose, you got to get the second level defenders to show up to peel those guys off. So they got to get downhill. And so if we're waiting and you're just kind of hesitant because it's the run pass keys are just off a little bit, then it can get a little hairy. It can create space. Second level has to show up. That's what they get paid to do. So there is a run pass conflict at the second level that, this is first year in the system. They're getting used to all this, and they got to figure out when can I trigger versus when can I can't.
So you heard from Robert Saleh himself. This is one of my favorite quotes from him from all of last season because I felt like he answered the question that so many fans were asking. Why can't you guys stop the run? And he painted the picture perfectly, I felt like. He talked about the second level of the defense being slow to reacting and identifying whether the offense was running the ball or passing it. And so they were floating in no man's land. They weren't attacking the line of scrimmage when the runs were called, and they weren't really peeling back when the pass plays were called. They were not sure what to be doing. And so this led to so many running lanes being just wide open. And of course, he talks about in that same press conference how the safeties need to do a better job of run support. He said that the defensive line in some cases were not containing, not fighting through their blocks. But he did spend a lot of time talking about the linebackers and their slow reaction to those play calls. There's a small sector of fans out there that were pinpointing CJ Mosley as, not having a great season last year. And I personally don't agree with that stance. I think that's way incorrect. I think CJ Mosley was clearly the leader and the best defensive player on the football team. Was he perfect? No, of course not. And I think that in some cases he may have tried to do too much, kind of similar to a quarterback on a bad offense or a bad team, trying to force the ball when it's not there and creating turnovers for your team. I think CJ Mosley was kind of in that same situation. He played great in a lot of games, but there were some games where he may have been trying to do too much, over pursuing, trying to make a big play for his defense to, really to try to flip the script and to fix, the issues that were going on around him. The inexperience around him certainly was an impact. And again, that's kind of the point of the video is I want to see the Jets go after a linebacker to help him and to let him play freely and to play at the best level that he can. Because again, I still think CJ Mosley is a very high level caliber linebacker. He is not one of our issues on this defense. Jared Davis from the Detroit Lions was a free agent that we signed last offseason. And I actually, at the time, I thought, I was pretty optimistic of the move. I thought that he was a speedy linebacker who would fit well into the scheme. He was a good blitzer in Detroit, compiling a couple of sacks throughout his time there. And, the move certainly did not pan out. It was a 1-year contract. He started the year hurt, missed some time. And then when he came back, he made very, very little impact, not only stopping the run, but making any kind of negative plays for the defense. So moving forward, we're going to certainly have to replace him. Linebacker Quincy Williams, who we picked up off the waiver wire from the Jacksonville Jaguars, I felt like he was one of the very few bright spots that we had on defense in 2021. And he showed the potential and the talent that made him a third-round pick just a few years ago. This guy is a heat-seeking missile. He has a ton of speed and a ton of athleticism. And when he arrives, when he finds the ball, he hits like a ton of bricks. He really can lay the lumber on dudes. Hit Derrick Henry and tackled him one-on-one last year in that Titans game, which I thought everybody was very impressed by. Was a good blitzer. He got a couple of sacks last year. The thing moving forward for Quincy Williams is I don't know if I necessarily want him as a main, starting linebacker on this defense, but he, number one, needs to have a role. He should be playing on defense for the Jets. And again, I just think he needs a little bit more experience and coaching. The talent is there, and it just needs a little bit of refinement, needs a little bit more, correction on proper technique and identifying, where to be on the field in certain situations. The last two players that I'm going to discuss are going to be Hamza Nasruddin, the FSU safety that we converted into a linebacker, and Jamian Sherwood, the safety slash linebacker that we drafted from Auburn. These are both guys that the Jets took in the mid to late round last year in the NFL draft. They both suffered injuries, and again, they kind of struggled when they were on the football field at times. Sherwood's coming off of an Achilles tear, and we need to see more from Hamza Nasruddin. The big thing with these two guys is they have to have outstanding off seasons. They need to add, weight. I think that that's fair to say. Both of them need to bulk up a little bit. And again, they need to work. They need to learn how to be a linebacker and how to be a linebacker in this defense and in this scheme. It was certainly a tall ask by the New York Jets to put these kids in, early in year one and expecting them to do anything, impactful. So I'm not saying I'm out on Jamian Sherwood or Hamza Nasruddin, but I will say that the deck is certainly stacked against them. They're going to have to work really, really hard this offseason to make sure that they not only have a spot on this roster in 2022, but also to make sure they even get on the football field. So how did the Jets fix the problem at linebacker? And I think it's very similar to the safety position and the tight end position. I think you need to go ahead and sign one in free agency, and you also need to consider taking one early in the NFL draft. And let's begin there because there's a bunch of guys that are available. I think it's a pretty decent linebacking class. You've got Nakobe Dean from Georgia, and you've got Devin Lloyd from Utah that are very much going to be first round draft picks and day one starters for whoever takes them. But then after that, you've got more guys. Christian Harris from Alabama. You've got Chad Muma from Wyoming. Brandon Smith's Penn State. There are guys, and there are more than what I just mentioned, that could be impact players for the defense in the future. And I think that's the idea here is you get somebody that you can put in here on this defense that's going to fit the scheme, can learn, and eventually become a full-time starter. To get your full-time starter, I think going to free agency is a smart move. And there are a couple of guys that I've mentioned on the channel. The first one is Foye Oluokun. I know some of you really don't like him, but he makes football plays. He makes big plays on defense, intercepts the ball, sacks the quarterback, gets in the backfield. He's super fast, familiarity with Jeff Ulbrich, so I love that idea. But there's other guys. Devondre Campbell from the Green Bay Packers. He's been playing for a while now and would be an instant, starter on this defense. Kaiser White from the LA Chargers. This is a guy that, converted from safety, similar to Hamza Nasruddin and Jamian Sherwood. So I think the Jets might be interested in adding somebody like that has been in the league for a while now. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Who are the linebackers that you think should be added in free agency in the NFL draft to get this thing going in the right direction? I thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have an awesome day. Go Jets, and I'll see you guys next time.